Next, let's make and attach the accessories. Let's take a look at the finished product. The accessories include lace trim, ribbon, pearl chain, fabric patches, cactus decorations, mushrooms, magnetic closures and straps. First, let's sew the white lace trim onto the front body. First, refer to the paper instructions. Cut the white narrow lace trim to the appropriate length. The lace has identical right and wrong sides. Fold the lace in half. Sew the beginning and ending together. You can use the main piece of the bag for this sewing. Crochet the remaining yarn tail. Here I'm using random colors. Cut about 1 meter of yarn. Thread it through the darning needle. Here, I have already threaded it. Pick up the lace trim. Align the beginning and ending of the lace. Be mindful not to twist it. Insert the needle into the right side of the lace. Sew about 0.5 centimeters from the edge. Leave approximately 5 centimeters of yarn tail. Sew along the edge of the lace. Then sew back once again. Do not fasten off the yarn after sewing. The lace has now been joined into a circle. You can see that the edge of the lace has small holes. Thread the needle through these holes following the yarn tail. Pass through each hole on this side sequentially. Continue until you have gone all the way around. After threading through the last hole, take out the front body fabric. Here I will demonstrate using this sample. The stitch pattern in the center of the sample is random. I will only demonstrate the lace sewing method. Place the front body with the right side facing up. Position the side of the lace that has been threaded facing down. Slip it under the edging in the middle of the front body. Align the joining point of the lace. Position it roughly towards the middle of the bag area. Then pull tight the yarn tail. The lace will gather slightly on this side. Adjust it so that the lace lies flush against the underside of the middle edging. The pleats of the lace should be roughly evenly distributed. Next, take this side of the lace along the underside of the edging and sew it securely to the fabric piece around this circle. The sewing method can vary. Just make sure it's even and secure. Pay attention while sewing that you need to pass through both the single crochets of the upper edging And pick up the loops behind the single crochets for sewing. This will secure the edging to both the lace and the fabric piece. This prevents the edging from curling up, which wouldn't look very neat. After sewing around the entire circle, tie a double knot with the beginning and ending yarn tails. And hide them separately on the wrong side of the fabric piece. The method is quite simple, so I won't demonstrate it. Up to this point, the sewing method for the front body lace edging has been explained. Next, we will attach a ribbon to the front body. I will continue using this sample swatch to demonstrate the ribbon attachment method. Let's look at the fabric piece on the 5th round of the front body. There are holes in the chain stitch positions. Find the 2 corresponding holes in the middle of the closure area. Take out the ribbon. Refer to the paper chart to cut the corresponding length. For convenient insertion, you can thread a stitch marker onto one end of the ribbon. Insert it through the hole on the left side. And exit through the adjacent hole. Then continue to insert it into the next adjacent hole. And exit through the following hole. Follow this method to go around in a circle. Pay attention to not twisting the ribbon. Now the ribbon has been threaded through all the holes. It comes out exactly from this hole. Adjust it a bit, so that the ribbon passes through all the holes evenly and flat. The lengths of both ends should be roughly the same. Next, we'll make a bow. First, cut about 30 centimeters of gold thread. Thread on a suitable gold pin, and set it aside. Here, I'm using cotton yarn for demonstration. The colors are random. Next, tie a knot with the beginning and ending ends of the ribbon. Then fold one end of the ribbon in half. Fold it in half again. Place it diagonally on top as one half of the bow. Then take the other end of the ribbon and fold it in half twice as well. Place it on top in the opposite direction as the other half of the bow. Adjust the size a bit. Then take out the prepared gold pin at the crossing point of the ribbon on the wrong side of the fabric. Insert the pin. Make sure to leave a little yarn tail at the back. Sew the ribbon to secure it in place. After securing it well, take out the purl button. Thread the needle with the purl. Then guide the needle underneath the ribbon. Then pass the needle through the buttonhole. Sew in this manner one more time. Next, insert the needle into the back of the fabric piece. Tie the beginning and ending yarn tails in a double knot to secure. Weave in the ends separately to hide them. The method is quite simple, so I won't demonstrate it. Cut the two loops below the ribbon individually. For all the ribbon ends, leave them at the desired length. Cut a diagonal angle with scissors. to prevent the ribbon from fraying. You can lightly singe the edge with a lighter. This way, the bow is completed. Up to this point, we have finished explaining the making and attaching of the ribbon. Next, we will make and attach the pearl chain. Cut approximately 50 centimeters of gold thread. Thread an appropriate gold needle. First, sew and secure the end of the thread to the front body of the fabric. Remove the fabric piece. Locate the second round below the edging in the middle. Find the corresponding stitch at approximately the middle position of the fitted area. Insert the sewing needle from the wrong side of the fabric at the corresponding position. Leave a slightly longer tail on the backside. Then insert it nearby. Tie a simple knot with the previous thread end. Then come out from the same position again. The thread end is now secured. Next, thread on 6 small pearls. Adjust the thread end. Make this string of pearls stick close to the fabric piece. Then insert the pearl button. Now thread the gold needle back through the 6 small pearls just added. Adjust the thread end again. Ensure this string of pearls stays close to the fabric piece. Continue by threading on 8 more small pearls. Then insert another pearl button. Then thread the gold needle back through each of the 8 small pearls just added. Adjust the thread end. Ensure this string of pearls stays close to the first string of pearls. Next, follow the same method to create another string with 6 small pearls and a pearl button. Once completed, insert the sewing needle into the previous thread securing position. Continue to tie a double knot with the previously reserved thread end. Weave in the ends to hide them. The purl chain is now completed. Next, we will sew on the applique. Let's look at the finished product. The applique is sewn onto the front body, at the corresponding position of the first 4 rounds in the middle. Sew another round of purls around the applique. I'm using this sample for demonstration. Let me demonstrate the sewing method for the applique. This sample only includes the first few rounds of the front body, and it is larger than the actual applique size. I will only demonstrate the sewing method. First, cut about 60 centimeters of gold thread. Thread it into a gold yarn needle. Sew along the inner edge of the embroidered lines on the applique, attaching it to the right side of the fabric piece. Note: the pattern direction of the applique should match the body of the bag. Make sure not to sew it crooked. The sewing method is not fixed, just sew it roughly evenly. You can sew 2 rounds. Keeping the gold thread along the inner circle of the embroidered lines, creating neat stitches like this. After finishing the sewing, take the sewing needle to the wrong side of the fabric piece. Tie a double knot with the beginning and ending yarn tails. Hide the yarn tails. The applique is now sewn on. Next, sew purls around the edges of the applique. Cut about 50 centimeters of gold thread. Thread an appropriate darning needle, then come out from underneath the fabric piece. Leaving a little yarn tail. Sew again to secure it in place. Then refer to the paper instructions. Thread on the corresponding number of purls. After completing, move the pearls to the base of the yarn tail. Then take the darning needle and pass it through the first pearl again. This makes the pearls form a ring around the applique. Next, choose a few points to secure the pearl string around the applique. After sewing around once, tie a double knot with the beginning and ending yarn tails. Hide the yarn tails on the wrong side of the fabric. Trim any excess yarn tails. Up to this point, the explanation of attaching the applique is complete. Next, we will connect and sew the front and back bodice together. Let's start by preparing the lace trim. Refer to the paper instructions. Cut the lace trim to the appropriate length. The right and wrong sides of the lace are identical. Fold the lace like this, horizontally in half. Pay attention that the top and bottom edges should not align. Keep a distance of about 0.5 centimeters. Next, cut about 1 meter of the remaining yarn from the body crocheting. Thread it through a sewing needle. I'm choosing the colors randomly here. First, let's sew one side of the lace trim. Then follow the holes along the fold of the lace. Pass the needle through them in sequence. Continue until you finish this side. Next, adjust the lace trim. Make sure it gathers evenly along the thread. The length on the side where you threaded. It should match the outermost round of the bag body perfectly. Just like the outermost circle of the bag area. Then sew the other side of the lace trim as well. Tie a double knot at one corner of the lace to secure it. Adjust the lace trim. Ensure the pleats are roughly evenly distributed. Now the wide lace trim is settled. Next, take out the front body and back body. Here I'll use these two sample swatches for demonstration. The front body of the samples have the same shape. The center does not have the corresponding stitches worked. I will only demonstrate the sewing method. Place the front and back bodice with their wrong sides facing each other. Align the bag opening area and the bag body area separately. Then take the wide lace trim that has been processed. Position the shorter side towards the front body, with the side threaded with the yarn tail. Place it between the front and back bodice. Ensure the edge of the lace trim corresponds to the last round of the bag body area. You can first secure a few points with thread. After completing, sew together the bag body areas of the front and back bodice, moving downwards. Use the remaining strands from the main part for sewing. For a clearer demonstration, I will use cotton yarn in a different color here. Cut about 1 meter of yarn tail. Thread it into a darning needle. Follow along the last round of stitches on the bag body. Use the backstitch method and sew from right to left. Insert the needle from the inside through the first stitch of the bag body area on the right side, coming out. Sew through the same position again to secure it. Next, pass the needle through the first stitch, going through both the bottom of the lace trim and the corresponding stitch of the fabric piece below. Pull tight. Next, insert the needle through the adjacent stitch on the left side. Passing through both the lace trim and the corresponding stitch of the fabric piece above. Insert. Pull the thread through. Then, insert the needle through the next adjacent stitch on the left side, passing through the lace trim and the corresponding stitch of the fabric piece below. Pull the thread through. This is the backstitch method. Now, continue using this method. Sew the entire body area. Finish sewing this side at the last stitch. Sew a few more stitches to secure it. Then, pass the needle to the middle of the fabric piece. Pick a nearby loop and tie a double knot to secure. Weave in the ends. The temporarily secured yarn tails at the front can be cut off directly. Up to this point, the connection and sewing of the front and back bodice of the main body of the bag is now complete. Next, let's sew on the frame closure. The frame closure has holes like this. Each half has 34 holes. The side with the pattern on the frame closure is the right side. The other side is the wrong side. We need to sew the frame closure onto the opening area of the front and back bodice. Here, I will continue using this sample swatch to demonstrate the sewing method. Make sure the right side of the frame closure faces out. Place it at the opening. Position the edge of the fabric's opening area inside the frame closure. Align the ends of the frame closure with the ending positions of the bag's opening area. To ensure the sewing is roughly even, you can first secure a few points. Here, you can use one of the remaining strands from the main piece and separate it into a thinner strand to use for securing. I am using a random color scheme here. Insert the yarn through the appropriate tail needle. First, locate the two centered holes on this side of the frame closure. Secure them to the centered position at the top of the fabric. Then align and secure the opening area of the bag with the frame closure. Next, secure the edges of the frame closure's ends to the corresponding edges of the bag's opening area. This demonstration takes about 60 seconds. Repeat the same process on the other side. Secure the top and both ends of the frame closure to the fabric. The method is quite simple, so I won't demonstrate it. Once completed, start sewing. For the actual project, use thread that matches the main body of the bag. In my sample, for better visibility, I use a different color for demonstration. Cut about 150 centimeters of yarn. Insert it through the appropriate tail needle. Here, I have already threaded it. Make a knot at the end of the yarn. Insert the needle from inside the bag body through the edge of the fabric piece near the frame closure. Then, pass the needle through the loop left by the yarn tail. Pull tight. Next, insert the needle from the position corresponding to the first small hole of the frame closure through the stitch of the last round of the fabric piece. Pull the yarn tight. Then insert the needle through the second small hole. And at the same time, pass through the corresponding stitch of the last round of the fabric piece. Next, exit from the position on this round of the fabric piece. That corresponds to the third small hole of the frame closure. While also passing through this small hole of the frame closure. Then thread back through the second small hole again. Move 2 holes to the left and exit through the fourth small hole. Finally, thread back through the third small hole. Like this, move forward 2 small holes and exit. Then retreat 1 small hole and insert the needle. This method is called backstitching. Everyone, follow this method to sew the side with the frame closure. Note here. Try to pass the needle through the stitch holes of the last round of the fabric piece. This makes it easier to sew. After finishing this side, at the last 2 holes, pass the thread back and forth a few times. Then, with the excess thread, sew multiple times in the same position on the edge. Tie a double knot to secure it. Hide the thread end. And then cut the yarn. That's it. The side with the snap closure has now been sewn. The previously secured thread ends can be cut directly. The side with the snap closure on the sample swatch is now sewn. Next, everyone follow the same method too. Sew the other side with the snap closure. I won't demonstrate this part. This is what the sample looks like with the snap closure sewn. Next, sew pearls at the corresponding snap closure area on the front side of the bag. First, cut about 80 centimeters of gold thread. Thread an appropriate gold needle. I have already threaded it here. Tie a knot at the end of the thread. Next, have the right side of the bag facing you. Insert the needle from the back of the fabric piece on the right end of the snap closure. At the same time, insert it through the reserved loop. Pull tight. Then, come out from the second hole, on the right side of the snap closure, thread a large pearl. Then insert through the third small hole of the snap closure. Next, skip one small hole. Come out from the fifth small hole. Thread another large pearl. Then insert through the sixth small hole. Continue sewing downward following this method. Space each pearl by one small hole. After completing this side, now the last pearl has been sewn. On the wrong side of the fabric piece, pick a nearby loop. Tie a double knot to secure. Hide the yarn tail. Trim any excess yarn tails. The pearls on the snap closure are now sewn on. Next, we will crochet a cactus. Let's look at the finished product. There are two different types of cacti. They are classified as number 1 and number 2. Both consist of one main stem and two side stems. Each starts with a magic ring and is crocheted in rounds counterclockwise. The difference lies in the number of stitches and rounds. After crocheting is finished, sew to shape the cactus. No new stitch techniques are used. Next, please watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Let's start with the side stem of cactus 1. Let's look at the chart. In the chart, our plus number indicates the round number. The increases and decreases explanation column shows the stitch techniques needed for crocheting the current round, as well as any increases or decreases in stitches. The Total stitches column shows the total number of stitches. After all stitch techniques for the current round are completed, the stitch techniques used include X single crochet, SC, V, single crochet increase, SC2 in 1, single crochet decrease, SC2 tog, chain stitch, CH, and slip stitch, SL street. Next, I will demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Here, I will use cotton yarn for the demonstration. The colors are random. Please refer to the paper instructions for details. Start with a magic ring. Now, let's work on the first round. In the chart, R1 means 6x, which indicates making 6 single crochets. First, make a chain stitch, CH, as the turning chain for the single crochet. Pull tight. Then, work the single crochets into the magic ring. After completing them, close the magic ring. This completes closing the magic ring. Continue to finish the first round. Skip the turning chain. Join with a slip stitch into the first stitch. Pull tight. The first round is complete. Now, let's move on to the second round. In the chart, R2 is V, X, asterisk 3. The parentheses indicate a group. Asterisk 3 means repeat this group 3 times. Start with a chain stitch, CH, as the turning chain. Then work a single crochet increase, SC2 in 1. While crocheting, weave in the beginning tail of the yarn. Work a single crochet, SC, into the next stitch. Pay attention to continue weaving in the tail as you go. 1 V, X, group is now complete. Follow this pattern to finish the entire round. If there's any remaining beginning tail at this point, you can cut it directly. Finally, skip the turning chain and slip stitch join. Join with a slip stitch into the first stitch. Tighten the yarn. Once completed, flip the right side towards you. Note: the right side should always face you during the crocheting process. This completes the second round, R2. Now let's move on to the third round, R3. In the chart, R3 indicates 9x. This means work 9 single crochets, SC, evenly. Start with a beginning chain. Work a single crochet into the next stitch. After completing, you can refer to the chart to check the stitch count. The method can be referenced from the previous demonstration. I will not go over this again here. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Tighten the yarn. The third round, R3, is now complete. Move on to the fourth round, R4. For R4, it says A, X, asterisk 3. This means start with one single crochet decrease, SC2 tog, in this round. Then work one single crochet. Repeat this a total of 3 times. Start with one chain stitch as the turning chain. Tighten the yarn. Next, work one single crochet decrease. And one single crochet. That completes one AX sequence. Follow this pattern to complete the entire round. Finish with the last single crochet, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. After completing, leave a yarn tail of about 20 centimeters for sewing. This is what the completed side stem of Cactus 1 looks like. For the crochet work on the remaining main stems and side stems of the cacti, you can refer to the method demonstrated above. Please refer to the paper instructions for specific stitch counts and rounds. Let me explain here. In the table for the main stem of Cactus 1, our SIX tilde or 821X indicates starting from round 6, one single crochet in each stitch. Each round has 21 stitches. Continue crocheting all the way to the end of round 8. For any similar format encountered later, the meaning will be the same as this. Pay attention, after completing all the main stems and side stems, leave a yarn tail of about 20 centimeters for sewing. Up to this point, the crochet instructions for the cactus are complete. Next, I will use these samples to demonstrate the sewing of the cactus shape. Let's take a look at the crochet pieces. The first cactus has one main stem and 2 identical side stems. On one side of the piece, there are several small dashes, forming a line. These are created by slip stitches. Use the side with the slip stitch marks as the wrong side. Press the piece flat. Sew the side stems to the main stem at the top right corner and the middle of the left side. Thread the reserved yarn tail of one side stem into a sewing needle. Position the opening of the side stem towards the top right corner of the main stem. Make sure that for both the main stem and the side stem, the sides with the slip stitch marks are facing the back. Then, pass the yarn out through the opening of the side stem. Pick up the stitches from the last round of the side stem and the corresponding position on the main stem. Whip stitch each part together. After completing one round, pick a nearby loop and tie a double knot. Weave in the ends to hide the yarn tail. Next, follow these steps to sew the other side stem. I won't demonstrate it again. As you can see, Both side stems are now sewn onto the main stem. Next, embroider small spines on the cactus. Take out the corresponding yarn. Thread the needle. Here, I'm choosing colors randomly. Please refer to the paper instructions for specifics. The number of small spines here and their distribution don't have strict requirements. Just stagger them roughly. Insert the needle from the wrong side into the desired position. Leave a little yarn tail at the back. Then insert it again nearby. Slightly tighten. One small spine is now embroidered. Next, come out from another small spine position. Insert nearby. This is another small spine. Continue downward using this method. Embroider all the small spines. After finishing, tie a double knot with the beginning and ending yarn tails on the wrong side of the piece. Weave in the ends. The small spine is now complete. Moving downward. Everyone follow this method too. Sew the remaining main stems and side stems, and embroider the small spines. The side stems of the second cactus are positioned slightly above the middle on both sides of the main stem. Place the two side stems slightly staggered. Note that the slightly longer side stem should be positioned above. The left and right positions can be adjusted according to your preference. The method is quite simple, so I won't demonstrate it. Up to this point, the explanation of making the cactus is complete. Next, we will crochet mushrooms. There are two different types of mushrooms, labeled as 1 and 2. The crochet method is identical. The only difference is in the number of stitches and rounds. Each mushroom consists of a cap and a stem. The cap starts with a magic ring, while the stem begins with a chain stitch. Then, both are crocheted in rounds counterclockwise. After completing the crocheting, sew them together. No new stitch techniques are used. Now, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crochet method. The crochet method for the mushroom cap is relatively simple. I'll explain using this crocheted sample. Like the cactus, the mushroom cap's instructions are presented in a table format. After starting with a magic ring, the first round consists of 5 single crochets. Subsequent rounds involve increasing stitches. For the exact stitch count and number of rounds, please refer to the paper instructions. After completing the crocheting, leave a 10 cm yarn tail for sewing. All the stitch techniques used have been demonstrated previously. I won't repeat the demonstration. Please refer to the chart for the instructions. Crochet the corresponding number of mushroom caps. Next, we'll crochet the mushroom stems. Let's start with the mushroom stem one. I'll continue demonstrating with cotton yarn. The color choices are random. Start with a slip knot. Crochet 6 chain stitches. Place a stitch marker on the last chain stitch. Then make 1 chain stitch to start. At the chain position marked by the stitch marker, pick up the back loop and work 1 slip stitch. Next, in the adjacent chain on the left side, work 1 slip stitch corresponding to that chain. Work 2 slip stitches. Then work 1 single crochet. and 1/2 double crochet. Finally, in the last chain space, work 1 double crochet. Then rotate the piece clockwise. You can check the starting chain position. Because we are picking up the back loop for crocheting, each chain stitch still has 2 strands of yarn left. Next, pick up the 2 remaining strands from the chain stitches and continue crocheting. Start with the 2 remaining strands. At the chain position on the far right, make 4 double crochets. As you crochet, place the starting yarn tail above the crochet hook and weave it in together. One, 2, 3, 4. Next, continue to pick up the 2 remaining strands from the adjacent chain stitches, 1 stitch to another. Crochet 1/2 double crochet. One single crochet and 3 slip stitches. After completing, connect with the side of the first slip stitch, using a slip stitch into this loop. Pull tight, and make 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a yarn tail of about 30 centimeters and cut the yarn. Pull tight. The starting tail has already been secured with a few stitches, so you can cut it directly. The mushroom stem is now complete. Let's take a look at the fabric piece. The texture on the right side is clearer, while the texture on the wrong side is more blurred. Next, we will sew and attach the cactus and mushroom onto the front body. Here's the finished product. The cacti and mushrooms are arranged around the middle edging of the front body, between the middle edging and the edge edging. Among them, Cactus 1 is positioned above, and Cactus 2 is positioned below. There is 1 mushroom 1 between the 2 cacti. There is 1 mushroom 1 between the 2 cacti. The remaining mushrooms are sewn symmetrically below the body of the bag, on both sides of the bead chain. You can first roughly arrange all the fabric pieces on the finished product to find the specific positions of each part, and sew further down. The actual positions of the cacti and mushrooms can also be adjusted according to personal preference, as long as they are symmetrical on both sides. Next, I'll use this small sample to demonstrate the sewing method for Cactus 1. First, thread the reserved yarn tail from the main stem into a sewing needle. Then place the cactus, where the slip stitch marks are, against the bag body, following the stitches at the base of the cactus. Attach the base of the cactus by fixing it to the appropriate position on the knitted piece. Then select a few points on the main stem and branches to fix. After completing this, bring the needle to the wrong side of the fabric. Pick up a nearby loop and tie a double knot to secure it. Weave in the ends to hide the yarn tail. The cactus is now sewn on. Continue with this method. To attach the remaining cacti, the technique is quite simple. I will not repeat the demonstration. Next, I'll use this small sample to demonstrate the sewing method for the mushroom. First, press the mushroom cap flat into a semicircle. Pay attention to placing the side with slip stitch marks on the wrong side. Then, thread the reserved yarn tail through the needle. Position the wrong side of the mushroom cap towards the fabric piece. Select a few points and secure it to the appropriate spot on the fabric piece. Be mindful not to sew the opening closed. After sewing, tie a double knot to secure it. Weave in the ends. Next, thread the reserved yarn tail from the mushroom stem into the needle. Position the wrong side towards the fabric piece. Slightly insert the end with a slip stitch into the opening of the mushroom cap. Then sew along this circle of stitches to secure it. After completing one round, continue to sew a few spots on the mushroom cap. The position and quantity are not fixed, sew a few sparse stitches. After sewing, tie a double knot on the wrong side of the fabric piece to secure it. Weave in the ends. Continue downwards following this method. to sew and attach the remaining mushroom caps and stems. The method is quite simple, so I will not repeat the demonstration. Next, attach the strap. First, install the wire loop into the small hole above the frame. Then attach the buckle of the strap to the wire loop. Everyone, please install the wire loop on the other side, and the strap buckle by yourselves. Up to this point, the tutorial for this Muching frame bag is fully completed. If you have any unclear points during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.